Chapter 1, The Outlaw of Ashwood. The forest of Ashwood stretched for miles along the western edge of Eldoria, ancient oaks and black pines woven into a canopy so thick that daylight reached the ground in narrow, silver blades. Moss swallowed roots older than kingdoms. The air smelled of wet earth, pine resin, and wood smoke carried from hidden camps. Most travelers feared Ashwood. Not because of wolves. Because of Rowan Ashford. To the crown, he was a traitor. To tax collectors, a nightmare. To the villages that had not eaten properly in months, he was something closer to mercy. Rowan crouched on a branch 20 feet above the forest road, his dark cloak blending into bark and shadow. A bough rested across his knees. Below, the road curved between trees like a scar cut through green flesh. Beside him, Bram shifted his weight and muttered, "Tell me again why we are awake before sunrise to rob armed soldiers instead of sleeping like respectable criminals." Rowan did not look away from the road. "Because those wagons are carrying Riverstead's winter taxes. And Riverstead buried 3 children last week." Bram's grin faded. "Right. Heroic crime it is." Across the branches, rebels waited in silence. Farmers, hunters, blacksmiths, runaways. Men and women pushed into the forest by hunger and royal law. A scout whispered from above, "Convoy approaching." Iron wheels rattled through the trees. Horses snorted. Then the column emerged. First came 6 mounted soldiers in polished steel bearing King Alric's crimson lion. Behind them rolled 2 tax wagons stacked with grain sacks and lockbound chests. At the rear traveled a black carriage marked with the royal crest. Rowan's eyes narrowed. "A carriage?" Bram whispered. "For a tax run." "Stay sharp," Rowan said. He raised 2 fingers. The rebels drew bowstrings. When the lead riders passed beneath his tree, Rowan dropped to the road in a single, silent motion. "Morning," he said. The captain jerked his horse to a halt. "Who are Dash?" A ring of arrows struck dirt around the convoy, close enough to spray mud over boots and hooves. Rebels stepped from both sides of the road, bows aimed. "Easy," Rowan said calmly. "No one needs to die today." The captain glared. "Rowan Ashford." "The same. This is royal property." Rowan walked to the nearest wagon and split open a sack. Wheat spilled over the boards. He lifted a handful, let the grain fall through his fingers, then opened a chest of silver. "Was it royal property when your men burned farms collecting it?" The captain said nothing. Bram rested an axe on his shoulder and offered the soldiers a crooked smile. "Also, for tactical awareness, there are about 30 archers on you right now." There were 12. The bluff worked. The captain lowered his sword a fraction. "You'll hang for this." "Maybe," Rowan said. "But not before Riverstead eats." He stepped aside. "Ride back to the capital and tell your king bandits took the wagons." The captain spat into the dirt but signaled retreat. The soldiers backed away down the road, faces hard with humiliation. As soon as they vanished around the bend, the rebels surged into motion. Grain passed hand to hand. Coin sacks disappeared onto waiting horses. Orders snapped through the trees. "Half to Riverstead," Rowan called. "Half to the southern villages." Bram groaned. "You ever notice we are the only thieves in Eldoria who never get rich?" "Then we are doing it right," Rowan answered. He turned toward the black carriage. Something about it was wrong. Too polished for a simple tax escort. Too lightly guarded for something valuable. He approached with one hand near his dagger. The carriage door opened before he could touch it. A young woman stepped down onto the road. Rowan blinked. She wore a travel cloak dusted by miles of hard road, but she moved with unmistakable poise. Dark hair fell from beneath her hood in soft waves. Her gaze met his directly, without panic. Not fear. Not pleading. Curiosity. Well, Rowan said slowly, you are calmer than most people during armed robbery. And you are cleaner than most outlaws, she replied. Bram barked a laugh behind him. Rowan ignored it. Name? Rowan asked. Elira. Elira what? Just Elira. People who give half answers usually hide full truths. She stepped closer, studying him like a puzzle. Men who ambush tax convoys are in a strange position to demand honesty. Fair, Rowan said. He glanced toward the empty road, then back to her. Where were you headed? The capital. That is unfortunate. Why? Because now you are in my forest. Elira crossed her arms. And what exactly does that mean for me? Rowan held her gaze. Up close, her eyes were sharp and alert, missing little. Not a merchant's daughter. Not a common courier. Whatever she was, she had not told him. Interesting. It means, he said, I decide whether you continue your journey. And will I? That depends. On what? He lowered his voice. On whether you are part of whatever game the king is playing with this carriage. For the first time, a flicker crossed her face. Gone quickly. If I said I was only passing through, I would say you are a poor liar. She almost smiled. And if I am lying? Rowan's mouth curved faintly. Then things become complicated. For whom? We'll find out. Before she could answer, a horn sounded in the distance, sharp and urgent. One of the scouts crashed through the brush. Rowan. Riders from the east. 20, maybe more. Bram cursed. That escalated quickly. Rowan made the choice in a heartbeat. Take what we have and move. Leave the rest. Rebels leapt into their saddles. Grain sacks were tied down with frantic speed. Coin was shoved into packs. The ground began to tremble with approaching cavalry. Rowan looked back at Elira. He could leave her. He could not trust her. And yet leaving her for royal soldiers she clearly feared was not an option he could live with. You are coming with us, he said. Her brows lifted. With a band of outlaws? With the people your king stole from, Rowan said. Move. She hesitated only a breath before climbing onto the spare horse Bram dragged forward. As they rode into the trees, Rowan glanced back to see armored riders burst onto the road and surround the half-empty wagons. The new captain dismounted, took in the scattered grain, and swore. Rowan Ashford, he said. One soldier whispered, the outlaw of Ashwood. Yes, the captain snapped. Find him. But Ashwood had already swallowed Rowan and his riders whole. Branches lashed at cloaks as they cut through hidden paths only rebels knew. Sunlight flashed and vanished between leaves. Behind them, horns and shouts faded. Ahead, the forest opened toward the ridgeline camps. Elira rode beside Rowan, posture steady despite the pace. You do this often? Steal food from kings, he asked. Whenever they make it necessary. And the coin? Belongs to the people who earned it. She studied him for a long moment. You sound less like a thief and more like a sermon. I have been called worse. Dangerous, for example. A brief laugh escaped him. That depends. On what? He looked sideways at her. On how close you plan to get. For the first time since stepping from that carriage, Elira fell quiet. Rowan noticed. And for the first time in months, he felt the shape of something he had not expected in Ashwood. Not just another fight. A mystery. By nightfall, the villages would eat. And in the heart of the forest, the legend of the outlaw of Ashwood had begun to change.